Hello everyone, welcome to the Evil Empire. I'm your host, Evil Empire, and this week on the feature, it's Kitty Company. So we have green, white kitties on the feature this week. So a bit of a silly deck, and something that I don't know that it's particularly competitive, but nonetheless, it has been a lot of fun, and I can say a few things about the deck now that I've played it this week. So let me just kind of clue you in to what's happening here. We're kind of doing a fair mid-range creature thing that can be also a little bit aggro focused with some of the better cards in the deck coming at the 1 to 3 mana slot. We do also run Collected Company, which does some things pretty well in our deck. You know, for example, if we're looking to kill some artifacts and enchantments, it might be able to go grab a Feline Sovereign for us. Being able to knock out some enchantments has actually played a pretty big role in some of the wins that the deck has racked up this week. In the lower end of the curve, we have Ajani's Pridemate. Bronze-Hide Lion is probably my least favorite kitty in the deck, although occasionally you do have the ability to leave up the 2 mana, whether it's, you know, to make Bronze-Hide Lion indestructible or to use the aura side of it once it comes back. You don't often have it, so, you know, the deck often operates on very low amounts of mana to begin with, so it's not worked out great, but it does fill the 2-drop slot pretty nicely. And then on the 1-drop side of things, we have Sacred Cat from Amonkhet, Leonin Vanguard from M19, and those are mostly looking to trigger on our Ajani's Pridemate. One card that I did not put into the deck, and it might be something that other people want to try, but I think the card is a little bit of a trap card and not something that I think really belongs in this one, although it does make cat tokens, of course. Is the 4-mana Ajani Strength of the Pride, I think it's called. And that one, I didn't want to put it in here because it's not going to be a hit for Collected Company anyway. And we have very many games where we don't make it to 4 mana even at all. Because we're running a pretty low land count in the deck. I think I'm at somewhere around 20. Okay, 24. It's not that low, I guess, but still. In best of 1, you don't always get there, but at any rate, so that's the early drops of the deck. We're looking to just kind of play creatures turn 1, 2, and 3. Then when we hit them with the 3-drop, that's really got to be something that hits them hard. You know, we want to hopefully hit them with a lord, like either a Kahira or a Feline Sovereign. Of course, the cats as a tribe don't have any 2-mana lords, but they do have a couple of these 3-mana lords. Feline Sovereign also, of course, gives protection from dogs, which, strangely enough, has not come up yet. And then I'm also trying out Lifecrafter's Bestiary as a way to give the deck a little bit of resilience from board wipes and let it kind of build back, or maybe even to just draw some extra cards while we are building up our board state for the first time. But something that also might be better suited to a sideboard card roll, but I'm trying to main deck it here just to see if it'll work well. Cub Warden as a one-of, just kind of hanging out to be able to maybe make a couple of kitty tokens and mutate. And then Collected Company as a 4-of. We have the alternate art with Ajani and the cats, because of course we do. And then after that is Regal Caracal, and that's our 5-drop, our kind of big finishing card. Another Lord, but it also gives lifelink. And we also will have a couple of extra kitties to play with when it comes in. In the mana base, we have a bunch of different things going on. Green-White has a pretty well-supported mana base in Historic, so we've got the Pathways, which are great for this deck because it's aggro. Scattered Groves is not great, but it does allow us to get a little bit of extra draw, and it does have the Forest Plains type, which helps us out with some Petal Grove. And then Temple Garden and 1-of Animal Sanctuary, just a thing to kind of try out in this deck since it does happen to fall along the right creature type line. And it probably is the only one of those creature types that has a relevant tribe around it. I don't think you're going to be able to find this in any other deck. So something that we can put here. I know the artist was saying that the painting here contains the artist's dog that recently passed away, so we'll play this in memory of that pupper that's gone to the great beyond, where all the good puppers go. And then, you know, we'll see how it fares in ladder play. It's not been doing great this week. It's okay, but when it does win, it's usually because we're going crazy with Pridemates, or maybe Feline Sovereign was getting us the ability to destroy a bunch of artifacts or enchantments. those aspects of the decks are kind of strong, and we can also sometimes just make a huge Pride Sovereign to win. But we'll see. I mean, it does a kind of a fair creature mid-range thing in a format as busted as Historic, so kind of asking for trouble. But we'll see how the Platinum rank in the ladder treats us today. The all 3-drop opener? No, thank you. Oh boy, it's not much better, but at least it has a 2-drop in it. And we will get to play that 2-drop and then play a 3-drop and hopefully draw some lands. So Scattered Groves tapped. Okay, we're playing against goblins. This is not great. One of the worst of the matchups. We'll just try to brick wall them for now and hope to draw a land. But not the best of matchups. Just gonna get pwned by turn 3 Muxus, so that seems fine to start the video. Oh, hey, a 2-drop. Much excite. But no land, so we'll play the Pride Mate and be sad that we didn't hit our land drop and pass. Yeah, might as well get in there. Doesn't matter. They're just gonna take it. I don't recall beating goblins at all this week with the cat deck, but I also didn't face a ton of goblins. Alright, the second Wily Goblin pass, they're going to be on 5 mana next turn, and we hit the okay, that's pretty good. But what do we do with it is a question. So I think the thing is we just want to make most efficient use, so the Pride Sovereign for now, and then Vanguard next turn. And we'll just LOL, GG, attack all. Yeah, they don't care, right? They're gonna Mux this turn after next, or maybe even next turn if they have it. Here it comes, the big Mux Daddy. Everybody's favorite goblin. Alright, well, it's not the greatest hit that ever happened, but it'll probably do fine. Nope. Doesn't matter anyway. No blocks needed. We're gonna lose, so. Yeah, Kahira. But, I mean, we're still really dead, so. See, I guess I'd throw the Bronzehide line under the bus here. Unless they have, what's it called, Krenko? Yeah, of course they do, right? Because they always have Krenko and Muxus. And now they're just gonna, like, play a lot of stuff from their hand with it. Yeah. Well, let's see how dead we are here. Like, I think we're pretty much just the deadest, right? Yeah, they have 9 attackers, and we only have 4 blockers. Like, we're just the deadest if they can get it in their head to attack. Here they come, finally. Wait, what? Why would you not attack there? That is a really weird non-attack. Alright, whatever. I don't understand the opponent's thinking there, but so be it. Yep, so gain a little bit of life, pump the Pride Mate. No, that's okay. I don't think we can attack because we're gonna lose now. Are they gonna close the game or are they just gonna sit here? There we go. This person is being ridiculous at this point. Okay, well, like, do you want to attack and win, or not so much? Wow, really? Okay, fine. Whatever. Oh, yes. Make sure you play another Krenko. This person is so boring. Oh, now you want to attack. Okay, sure. Yeah, why don't we block? And we'll just, we'll take our time thinking about our block. Doobly doobly doob. Doob doob. Okay, now we can... Where's this guy? Blocking this way. Activate ability, because why not? I mean, they want to waste our time, right? So we can waste their time back. Negative 143. Yeah, we lost that by a lot. Okay, pair of 1-drops and a 3-drop and a 4-drop. It's fine enough. Boy, this Cub Warden is just really trying to find its way into our hand all the time, huh? Yeah. 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 Okay. So we can actually probably go like this. Let an ETB tapped. Like that. And that way we can ensure that we get to 4 on turn 4. Okay, so mono green ramp with Tangled Florahedron Mindstone, Radiant Fountain, so some colorless stuff. Let's destroy artifacts and enchantments. Don't you think that'd be fun against this deck? I think it'd be kind of fun against this deck. Yep, so this can go. And cats just, they always destroy these types of things. Cats dislike artifacts. So we're just gonna knock over your Mind Stone, okay? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. That's a good curve for this deck. Definitely want to keep this hand. Okay, blue mana feels bad. Okay, hieroglyphic elimination, cycle it. Blue-white, control. Okay. So get our Pridemate censored. Is that what we're up for right now? Oh, maybe we get it back with Luris. Oh, really? No censor, you say? What have you then? What have you then, opponent? Okay, another hieroglyphic elimination to cycle. Opponent on 3 mana. Getting of the Trials. You're gonna prevent the damage from the Pridemate. And we will put down the Feline Sovereign, I think. Maybe. Yeah, that seems fine. No need to attack with the Pridemate if it's not gonna actually deal any damage, so we'll just kind of pick away at this.
Aren't you full of surprises? It's time to give up.
Okay, so they make the Gideon emblem and then pass. Interesting. So what do they have up? Shark Typhoon, maybe? Or could we Settle the Wreckage? Let's play around Settle. Go here. go here. Leave the feline sovereign back to play around it. Or do we just go both here in case they have Shark Typhoon? Yeah, that seems fine. Settle. Settle the wreckage. Yep. Okay. So we lose those two. That's fine. Don't get them back with Luris, but we do get to go get some lands, which feels pretty good. And let's see. What do we want to do? Let's do one of these. One of these. And then that way, if they Wrath next turn, we just Luris, and then we play back our Sovereign, and we keep going. I can bounce back from Wrath pretty decently that way. Okay, so prevent damage from the Pridemate.
Let's do this one-on-one.
And pass. Okay, so let's just play Kahira then, because we have the mana for that. Gain some life. Put a counter on the Pridemate. Now, how do we proceed here? We have another Sovereign, so if it dies, that's okay. They probably have another trick, right? Like a Settle or a Shark Typhoon. But we have, you know, pro dogs, so we're good. We're good on this. Okay, just a cast out, that's fine. Then we get to take the Gideon. And then next turn we get to get our Feline Sovereign back, because we'll play our next Feline Sovereign.
We still have a chance.
Okay, Narset is good
I have practiced
in that it's going to tie up a lot of their turn mana. No counter spell. Okay, good. Just a Shatter? Yeah, okay, fine. We'll deal. This. Like so. Then let's attack. Yeah, because their Shatter doesn't really do anything now, right? Because we have Luris, so... Alright, so Kahira will take down Narset. Here and here otherwise.
I still have much to learn.
Okay, so our graveyard's going to be pretty well stocked with at least 2 creatures that this can be done for. Yeah, so let's go ahead and just pass. And that way we'll have a better turn next turn after their Shatter. We do also get to draw a card off their Shatter, which feels pretty good. But we'll rebuild pretty quickly with Luris and then Bronzehide. Hopefully. We'll see. Yep, Shatter, we draw. Oh, okay, cool. We get to also spend some of our mana on the... Oh, no, that's not the right card. Sorry, I thought it was a different one. I thought it was this one, yeah. Alright, so Luris. Get back the Pridemate, I suppose. Or the Vanguard. The Vanguard lets us hold up the Indestructible on the Bronzehide. So we have to do that, I think. Play this. And say next. End the turn. Alright, well, we're doing okay. We're keeping up with them a little bit. Just depends what they have now, right? Yep. What do they do with Tef? Are they going to tuck? Or are they going to draw?
Right on schedule.
They're going to tuck? Okay. That is fine. And that is what happens.
Not ready for you.
We'll get a little bit closer with our Scattered Groves. Oh, okay, so then we can just put them right into our hand, right? Yeah. Sweet. That. 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 Yeah, so we're right back where we started here. This here. This here. You know what? Let's just be safe. This here and this here. We don't want this Teferi sticking around by any means.
I'll have a better plan next time.
Alright, we've still got the Indestructible up on the Bronze Hide, which feels pretty good here against their Shatter. Sphinx is rev for 1. Leave up 4. Okay, so they're leaving up Settled mana to represent it, but they don't have it, so they just concede. Okay, fine. Fair enough, opponent. Fair enough. So I'm back with Kitty Company, and this deck actually performed surprisingly well. I mean, after the comically terrible loss to Goblins, which is pretty much always going to be the case for this deck, it's just not got a good Goblins matchup, so don't expect that. After that one game, we saw the power of Feline Sovereign in the next two, the ability to take out the Mind Stone from that green ramp deck, and then the ability also to take down the cast out from the the blue-white control deck. That was really huge and allowed us to stay in both of those games, or you know, in the case of the first game of those two, just dominate the second game of the three total games. So it was, yeah, just really showing the power of Feline Sovereign, I think, is one thing that's impressed me about this deck. Just how good it is to be able to destroy artifacts, enchantments at a good clip. Sometimes if you get a couple of these Feline Sovereigns down, you might even be destroying a bunch of them at a time if you wish to or need to. But that would probably only be against something like, you know, the Tempered Steel artifacts deck, where you have a bunch of artifact creatures that you want to kill anyway. So I don't know if that necessarily is a good example, because we're going to have trouble competing on the board with a deck like that, at least early in the game. Didn't really get a chance to test out Lifecrafter's Bestiary. Maybe not the best way to try to build back. Maybe we want to go heavier on the main deck Lurrus as a way to build back, although Lurrus is not going to be able to get us our 3 drops like our Pride Sovereign, Feline Sovereign, or Kahira. Certainly not going to be able to get us our Regal Caracal or our Cub Warden back. So another thing I might do to the deck is just kind of tweak it to the point where we don't have 5 drops and 4 drops in it. We just maybe want to go all in on the Collected Company strategy. But that's something that would probably happen in a more tuned version of this deck, where this one is just kind of for fun and for messing around with. It's got to have Regal Caracal. I originally had 2 of these, but it's a 5-drop, and you're not often going to cast it. Kind of like Siege Gang Commander in the Goblins deck. It's just not really the best choice, because you're trying to focus more on the early turns, and you're just trying to do everything toward Muxus anyway, so you're not worried about getting squeezing out the last 2 points of damage. As we saw, it's basically a creature combo deck, the Goblins deck, so you're not really going to end up running something at the 5-drop slot in that deck, and I don't think you really ought to in the most tuned version of this deck either. I just think that Regal Caracal is a fun card, and I like playing with silly things like this that remind me of when I first got into Magic again after a long layoff during the Amonkhet block. So Regal Caracal has a special place for me because it's part of the Amonkhet set, and I really came to enjoy Magic a lot during that time when Amonkhet was first out back in 2017. Kind of rediscovered the game at that point, so it's fun for me to play around with cards that have a little bit of nostalgia in it for me. Other things that I might tune about the deck, well, you could certainly look into tweaking the mana base a little bit. I think it's questionable if you want to go, do you want the full 4 Scattered Groves? I don't think that you do. We probably just want to get rid of a couple, maybe of those. Although, you know, being able to draw, we saw when Lurrus got tucked by Teferi against blue white, I was able to use the Scattered Groves to just draw him right back to my hand. So even a little bit of card draw in this deck is needed. Just a tiny bit of card draw. So from that point of view, that's the reason I have Scattered Groves in here. Although obviously you don't want tap lands at all in a deck like this if you can avoid it. Like even Sun Petal Grove to a degree is something that you want to cut down on. Like I've noticed that the most competitive versions of the Gruul decks in Historic, they don't run any Rootbound Crag because you're focused so heavily on those turns, especially even turn 1, of trying to put down an untapped land. And because this needs another land to be on the field, it's not really an ideal turn 1 land. And even in certain situations, it might not be an ideal turn 2 land, like if you're using Pathways the way I am, and you're not guaranteed necessarily, or not even very likely necessarily, to be able to put down a forest type or island, or plains type early in the game. You might end up with like a hand of all Pathways and some Petal Groves, and that's not great because everything's going to come in tapped once you get rid of your pathways. But at any rate, I've really had a lot of fun messing around with this week. I think it's a fun mid-range creature-focused fair deck that is not doing anything broken, certainly not, but I imagine that it makes opponents very salty when they lose to it, because nobody wants to lose to a bunch of kitties and their silly kitty powers, like being able to destroy things at will, which I think is perfect flavor for cats. Like, not only do they have the sort of sassiness that is known for many cats, but just the tipped over cup in this artwork here for Feline Sovereign. That's exactly what they do with cups. They see a cup on the table, they're like, no, that cannot be allowed to stand upright. We're gonna have to tip that. Any other changes I might make would probably just be to play a better deck. play a Collected Company deck that's good. That's what I would recommend that you do. And I don't necessarily want to burst anyone's bubble who's having fun playing something like this, or really any of the different versions. There's probably like maybe 10 plus versions of Collected Company in Historic right now. You've got a black-green version, a white-green version. Some of the Gruul decks play Collected Company in some number. Not to mention there's Bant Company. I've seen Spirits Company, Merfolk Company, so the list goes on with Collected Company just spawning a bunch of different decks and archetypes within archetypes. I think that's why they put it into and kind of shoehorned it into the Amonkhet Remastered set, was just to get that variety of Collected Company decks that will always collect, if you will, in a format that has Collected Company in it. And it's a fun card to play, and allows you to get a little bit better play against board wipes. Like, you can hold up, because most board wipes obviously are sorcery speed, with the exception of things like Settle the Wreckage, which I know to play around. Like, most people should know to play around it at this point in the format, so it's been around for long enough that you should be able to it's been in Historic from the beginning, so you should know to play around Settle the Wreckage at this point. And once you play around Settle the Wreckage, Settle gets so much worse. And you can use Collected Company at the end of their turn, so they can't wipe you for at least one turn. You get an attack in. We also saw Main Deck Lurrus being just a really good card in this deck. Main Deck Lurrus is a thing. Main Deck Lurrus is something that people should look more into. And I would even maybe think about balancing it. Instead of having 2 Lurrus and 3 Kahira, I might go the opposite way. Go 3 Lurrus, 2 Kahira. Especially because we have access to Kahira from the Companion Zone anyway. So that's going to do it for this week on the Historic Weekly Feature. I've had some fun playing with some cats in Kitty Company. If you want to play a similar deck to this, those are some of the changes that I would make. So feel free to experiment, make it your own, and see what works best for you. But those would be my overall recommendations. Just probably going more in favor of Main Deck Lurrus, cutting the 4 or the 5 drop, and just having one big chunk of creatures for Collected Company to hit. And then, is Lifecrafter's Bestiary something you need? I don't know. It was just something I was trying out. You probably want to do something else in that flex slot. But the more cats they print that are good, the better this will get. And with that, I'm going to sign off for this week. So, Evil Empire, signing off. Have a good week, everybody. Bye.